This week on Storytime at the Rubus, we're talking with some of our previous Totem scholars. We're also talking with someone that you know from the WellRED Comedy Tour, from Comedy Central, and a lot of other places, comedian Drew Morgan. We got a super exciting interview coming up with him, and then Daniel's going to tell you a little bit about this album. Welcome to Storytime at the Rubus, a weekly podcast about Bonnaroo and other festivals. I'm your host, Charla.
Hey everybody, it's Daniel, and if you're watching, you can tell we're back in the bus this week. We've been trying to do a bit of a different location every week. I think eventually we should do an on-site thing in Huntsville somewhere.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Like at one of the places that we frequent. I've been meaning to do that. We're going to get around to that sooner or later. I'd like to give you like a little tour of Huntsville now that we're doing video.
That's a good idea.
So where would we go? I think we did a little short video thing at the camp one time.
We have. Mm-hmm.
I'd like to go back there and do something. That's a great one. Of course, we got to do a couple at the different straight to L venues. Mm-hmm. Anything come to mind for you? Where would we go?
Well, the Orion, obviously.
Yeah, we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, I'm just going to talk to Billy Strings and get him to do an interview for us.
Okay, that sounds good.
Sounds like we are going to get to go to that show. Thank you, Butler. We love you. But yeah, we've been up to a lot. I realized that we actually have two episodes before I head down to Halloween. So this one and the one that we'll record before I head out.
Oh, okay.
But part of what we have this week is a little bit of what you promised last week. You said you had something in store. We have a special guest coming up later.
I do. So I've been following his career for many, many years now. We've got comedian Drew Morgan coming up on this episode.
Yeah, he's really cool. If you know the WellRED Comedy Tour, you probably have seen him. I think he's been on Comedy Central, a couple other crazy things. He is one of us. I don't know how else to put it. He is kind of like a redneck hippie. He's been to Rue, he's been to Burning Man. I'm going to get him to tell you all of his fun stories. But we also have a group that are just as important, right?
Yes, we've got our past scholars on.
Yeah. We've got 3 of them from the past 2 years. As we talked about last week, applications for this coming year's scholarship have now opened, right?
Mm-hmm. They are open at totemfnd.org.
How many have we gotten so far, give or take?
I last checked it on Friday, and we had 7 so far. And I can tell you, there's one in there that's like, oh, that's going to be a winner.
Yeah. We have a whole
it's tough
committee.
Competition.
Yeah, we have a whole committee that decides it. That's not a Daniel and Charlotte thing because we want to remain unbiased. But I will tell you, and as you will learn from our interview with them here in a bit, you've got big shoes to fill because we've had some fantastic scholarship recipients the past 2 years. We're up to 6 now. We're going to have 6 and then probably some veterans as well this coming year. In fact, you've kind of started this kind of marketing phrase, 6 in 26,
sure.
right?
6 in 26. So the very first year that we did Totem Scholars, we awarded 2.5 scholarships because one person already had a ticket. And then the second year, we did 3 full scholarships. And then in this year, in 2026, we are hoping to award 6 full scholarships.
Yes. So we will need your support to do that. Charlotte and the crew have some stuff that are coming up as far as like what you're going to see on our socials. We have something coming up as far as events go. We'll have more to tell you about that later. Stay tuned. But as we talked about last week, please get that application out there. And I know like 6 or 7 doesn't sound like a ton right now, but it is because anyone who applies for this, I want them to really think about it. The essay is what our committee weighs the most when awarding this scholarship. So whoever you're telling, tell them to really think out what they want to say. And we have some advice from previous recipients on the episode later. So they'll tell you what works, what worked for them, obviously.
Well, I can tell you we're looking for one of 2 things. Either what you want to do with a live music career and your interest about that, or number 2, what type of community curated event you want to do at the festival.
Yeah.
So it's really one of those 2 things that we're really looking for. You know, if someone's doing an essay, it's not a I love Bonnaroo essay. It's not your devotion to Bonnaroo or any particular festival. It's one of those 2 things that we're really looking for.
Yeah, exactly. So again, send that out. We have the link on Reddit. I neglected to put it on InfoRoo. I meant to do that. I'm still going to do that. I'm holding myself accountable. Everywhere. It's on the website. It's on our Discord.
TOTEMFND.org.
Yeah. All right. 2 little things I want to talk about before we go talk to our scholarship recipients and Drew. I neglected to ask you last week, how did you enjoy the Back to the Future thing?
Oh, that was phenomenal.
Yeah.
That was absolutely phenomenal.
So,
if it comes to your town, go see it.
To catch everybody up, it is a live stage production of Back to the Future with songs, dancing, all kind of crazy things. But literally, the movie takes place in front of you. And I loved it. I saw it already, and I wanted Charlotte to see it. I spoiled her. We were on the front row.
It was great. I
Yeah.
would recommend it to anyone.
Yeah. Don't want to spoil any of the effects, but go see it yourself. Her telling you that she liked it is, you know, some big advocacy because you're not always a theater person.
I'm not a musical person.
Yeah. So, yeah, we totally recommend it. Now, another thing, we usually do reviews or what we've been seeing, watching, playing, whatever at the end of the episode. And I've got one thing that we are going to talk about at the end. Movie we saw yesterday.
Yeah.
I want to talk about that together. But, as I am sure you are all aware, there's something I kind of want to talk about. So, this album, Deadbeat, as you can see on the back here, has been a little divisive this past week. I think we all knew what was coming. You heard all of the singles. There were 3 of them over the past, 2 months, I suppose. Into Summer, which came out a couple of weeks before summer ended, appropriately enough, was a fun EDM banger. And then we've had 2 that sound a little bit more like guitar, Tame Impala, the past month or so. Dracula, just in time for Halloween. They've been very timely with their releases. What did you think of those singles so far?
Oh, I loved them all.
All of them?
Yes.
Even the more challenging thing
Yes.
with End of Summer?
Yes.
Okay. So here's where I am at mentally. I have listened to this thing in full 4, maybe 5 times now. The first time I listened, I didn't know what I thought. I was confused. I didn't really connect with it in the way that I've connected with Currents for over a decade now. I didn't really know what he was going for. The second one, it started to sink in a little bit more. The third one, I'm like, oh, okay, I get these vibes. It's a new genre, but this is the same Tame Impala vibe. Fourth listen, oh man, this thing, as Bob Dylan said in that movie, struck me down to the ground, man. So in this, I don't know if this comes with all editions, but there's a little book that comes with this version that I bought and something I haven't seen in the Tame albums that I have had actually has a printout of all the lyrics. I think there's a reason for that. This album has a lot to say. I talked about this on social. I'll set that there for now. Yeah, there's Kevin and Peach. I think that this album is a bit of Kevin fighting off his old demons for the last battle. In fact, I think some of the heavy EDM, super heavy trance stuff, is almost kind of supposed to represent a panic attack. At least that's my interpretation.
Oh, okay.
So it makes sense that he is kind of finishing a narrative that he has had for a number of albums with a new genre, because while I love the psych rock stuff, the trippy stuff, it's my favorite stuff ever, I think it's him saying hey, I need a new way of solving this problem to finally finish it off. Anyway, that's my take on what it's trying to say. I do want to show you guys this. So I got one of these special editions with different colored vinyl. So here's one half of it. Check this out. This is really cool. I got the smoke. Have you seen that?
Yes, you showed it to me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks a little transparent,
Yeah,
probably
it's cool.
on video too. But if you can look at that, if you're watching on video, this is one of the special editions. I wanted to spoil myself because you seem to only get a new Tame album every 5 years.
That's really cool.
Yeah, so there's kind of little wisps of black and white to go with kind of the visual look of this album. I promise I'm going to put that back in the sleeve. I'm just sitting it aside right now. We'll do that after we're finished with this. How many listens have you given it so far?
I haven't listened to the full album yet.
Well,
Oh.
get back with me.
Okay,
All
I
right.
will.
I
I wasn't prepared. You didn't give me any homeworks.
Oh, well, no. Well, I am now. That's what I'm
Okay,
doing right now.
okay.
I haven't actually listened to much of that vinyl yet. I've just been listening to, on Spotify and stuff. But as a little bit of a collector, I have to have all these. You should see Andrew's collection. It's insane.
Oh, I know.
I was joking with friends, and Andrew, I love you to death, but I went to his apartment in Atlanta for a hot minute visiting. And yeah, I basically visited the Atlanta Tame Impala Museum. It was stuff signed by Kevin all over the walls,
That's cool.
all these different variants and everything. I guess we can go ahead and spoil it. We have another bit of a review after these 2 things we're about to do. Charlotte and I saw Aziz Ansari's Good Fortune yesterday.
Yeah.
Quickly, you liked it?
Oh, yes.
Okay, we'll talk about it later because I think it has some relevant things to say as well. But for now, we're going to go talk with last year's Totem recipients, and then we're going to go right into that thing with Drew Morgan, and then we'll be back in the bus with you. We'll see you soon. Everybody, I am happy to have representatives from both Totem scholarship classes over the past 2 years. Things have gone fantastically for us in this area. In fact, honestly, if I can be truthful with you, I think the scholarship is the best thing that has been going with Totem. So I want to get these 2 guys to introduce themselves. I guess we will start with the first year recipient first. Anthony, how's it going, man? Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Daniel. Thanks for having me on. Yeah, My name's Anthony. I was the one of the first scholarship recipients in that class of three back in 2024. I'm from Ohio. I'm a student of Baldwin Wallace University. I majored in digital marketing, media production, so I kind of had that music background. I worked at our college radio station, so I did a lot of work in that alternative rock realm. So the idea of coming to Bonnaroo was always really exciting for me. So to have that opportunity to get the scholarship and to join such a wonderful community was such an honor. And I've been coming back. I'm a part of the community now. I came back in 2025 for the half Roo, and I'm planning on coming back next year. So this was great, and it was a wonderful opportunity on my end.
Hell yeah, we'll run it back. And we're also going to talk in a little bit about how you got involved with the industry as well as the community. We're going to come back around to that. But Austin, you're up next. Introduce yourself to everyone.
Yeah. Hey guys, I'm Austin. I am from the most recent Totem class from Half Roo, which was great experience for what it was. From Knoxville, Tennessee, went to Western Kentucky University. Similar background to Anthony, did my college radio station. From there, actually, I wasn't new to Roo, unlike some of our other Totem scholars. I had been going for a few years, and so this was kind of opening up sort of the community aspect that I had been missing out on in Bonnaroo, and meeting people that were lifers and people that went together, and like the whole side of group camp that I had never really explored. And so that was what I was really stoked to do, and I'm glad to say that I did and met all these wonderful folks.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear you say that because I don't mean to say this derogatively, but I think there are a lot of Rubians that come in that are kind of tourists, so to speak, who come in for their shows and maybe just venture out to a couple of things in Outeroo, but don't necessarily get like overly involved in community stuff like a lot of us do. So I love that you really explored that world for the half of Roo we did get, and we are going to run it back. And hey, we are joined just in time by another one of our recipients. We have Amani joining us. Amani, we're already recording. I'm glad to see you jump on. You came in just in time. We were having the boys here introduce themselves. Could you introduce yourself to everyone as well?
Hi, I'm Imani. I'm one of the original Totem scholars back from 2024. I was able to rejoin Rubus Camp for 2025 as well. And just gonna chat with y'all about our experiences.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to have all three of you on. I think each of you have had a little bit of a different experience. First of all, because of course Bonnaroo is kind of a choose your own adventure, not only in terms of what shows you're going to go to, but what plazas you're going to go to, what different experiences in the group camp that you're going to go to. I just want to hear like a brief overview. Like each of you give me like two of your favorite shows that you have seen and like an experience or two that wasn't a show that was really memorable to you. We'll start with Anthony, since we started with you last time. We'll go around the clock here.
So yeah, the thing that really drew me to Bonnaroo, I really didn't know much about the festival until I think, what was it, the 2024, when KG Elephant announced that they were going to be playing Bonnaroo, which to me, like, they hadn't played in years. So that was so exciting for me. Well, I'm like, wow, they're touring again. This is really cool. And so that really drove me to research the festival. That brought me to the Totem website where I applied. I found it on Reddit. And then, so the whole week for me was leading up to that Cage Elephant set where I was like, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be in the pit. I remember sitting at the monkey bar talking to our fellow group members, and I'm like strategizing like a war general. Like, I got to get in line at this time to make sure I get in the Cage Elephant pit. So that was awesome. That was a great set. It was amazing. That same year, I really liked the Fred Again set as well. Which, Daniel, I think I watched that with you. I think Andrew was there, and Evan. That was really memorable for me because I really didn't know who Fred Again was. I'm not really in that EDM scene. But it really opened my eyes. Like, that was an amazing set. He was great. I'll never forget having to battle through crowds of people to try to get to you, Daniel, because you had your totem up. And I was like tiptoeing through everybody, and I finally got over there, and it was so worth the fight because it was such an amazing set. And what a wonderful way to end that year's Bonnaroo.
for you to be relatively new to the experience and already have the hang of like getting through a crowd like that is pretty damn impressive, my friend. And also, I'm glad you got to have that experience. You didn't mention it, but you and I and JB and Andrew, and I feel like somebody else was underneath that cherry picker that Fred was doing that little solo with that one board. And that was so fun. I'm so glad that you got to experience that with us.
I'm sorry, my cat's like dying right now.
No, is he okay? You know how I feel about cats around here. Clyde, chill out, buddy. All right. While Anthony is checking on Clyde, we're going to go to Austin next. Austin, tell us some of your favorite shows and some of your favorite experiences you had.
Yeah, for sure. I know some of my favorite shows had to be from my first year in 2019. I know just because they were a bucket list show for me, the Avett Brothers, getting into the pit, for that was just insane, just dream worthy. And the crowd that I met that day, it was my first experience really like camping out for the pit and like getting kind of some of those Bonnaroo things under my belt. And so that was just such a great experience. Outside of music, that year, I mean, Avett Brothers were great. Childish Gambino, just another, just really sold Roof as a whole for me. Just seeing that crowd and that, the main stage at night, all of that was just like, wow, this is just incredible. And outside of music, that really, opened up, this sort of community and just made everything click was my most recent trip out with you guys. And it was that super disastrous Friday, when they start, shutting things down, and it was just all doom and gloom. And, despite everything, and like, really no one would be any like upset at all if I felt just absolutely terrible, if I was kicking and screaming, oh, this sucks, this is awful. But, to turn around and see like, oh, all these people at Monkey Bar and at our camp, just like, they're just having the best time. And it's like, just seeing that and like just camaraderie. And then throughout the rest of the day, when the rest of the festival got canceled, just that momentum never really stopped. And like, I think that was just like, oh, wow, this is, that just, I think that'll stick with me probably just for really selling what Bonnaroo is just to me personally.
Yeah, I mean, I hate to be like kind of gallows humor about it, but like we've been there before. It wasn't our first rodeo. There were 2 years that we missed because of plagues and floods or whatever it may be. So we kind of knew the drill at that point and how to make the best of it. And I'm glad that you caught on to how to do that really quick. That's a great story, my man. All right, last but not least, Amani, tell us some of your favorite shows and favorite experiences.
Sure. I would say I'll start back in 2024. Chasing Status in Where in the Woods was incredible. It was one of the first sets of Bonnaroo that we saw. It was phenomenal, extremely packed. Had a great time, high energy set. Really helped us kind of kick off the week. Pretty Lights was the first set I saw with the rest of Robust Camp, and that was incredible. I think it was like a 3-hour set total, and they like cut it in the middle for like a quick.
Yeah.
Uh,
Are you talking about the Thursday set?
yeah, the Thursday night set.
What's Yeah, I love that. I would put that in the top 5 or 6 shows I've ever seen at Rude. That was fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. And I didn't even realize how much time had passed just sitting there. One, because it was with you guys, y'all are amazing. But two, because like the music and the vibes were just incredible. So by the time we got to that intermission, I was like, wow, so much time has passed. But yeah, that's another huge moment. Outside of the music, just getting to know everyone in camp, getting to work some shifts at the mini totem booth that we had set up behind the bus. It all started there, and then we grew, and then we were in Planet Roo this year. Getting to have those opportunities to meet other Ruvians and even some artists that were in Cinnaru, Outeroo. It's a really good time. One of my favorite, I think, random moments, we met Brittany Howard in the pit of Renee Rap.
What? You never told me that. That's amazing.
She just like walked past us. It was awesome. So yeah, you never know who you're going to run into. You never know what kind of like life-changing experience you're going to have, positive or maybe not so positive with the cancellation. But again, like Austin was saying, we made the most of it. camaraderie, the just absolute positivity, just really loving energy from everyone is, I think, what will keep me coming back for years to come.
Well, amazing, guys. All right, so we're going to shift gears just a little bit because, as everyone on the podcast heard last week, we have open applications up for next year's round. And as we've mentioned before, Austin, you and the other two are coming back with us. You're already grandfathered in. We're going to have you the hookup since you didn't have a full Bonnaroo experience. So you better be getting ready now, is all I'm saying. But I do want to get you guys to help us get next year's crew a little bit more ready. Now that you guys have gotten past the rookie stage, you're starting to slowly shift into the veteran stage a little bit. I hate to tell you, but you are. So I want to get you each to give a little advice to next year's crew and other rookie Bonnaroovians that are coming in 26. So we're going to go back around. I want to hear, like, what was your biggest challenge in the past year or so? And Anthony, we'll start with you again.
Well, I think my biggest challenge, relates to every aspect of my life in terms of the procrastination. Where, there's a month out and you're like, I got time. And then there's a week out and you're like, I got time. And then it's the night before and you're stressing out and I'm keeping track of everything. So the first year I was really bad in terms of the procrastination stage, just because I really didn't have a firm grasp of what I needed. I think I was slightly better this year, where I had like kind of a list I was checking off as I was going. So I think that's the struggle I had, was making sure I was bringing everything and I was packing ahead of time, just making sure I had everything I needed, which I think that's a process that takes a couple years to really get down, but I think I'm getting better as I go. So
That's a very good.
procrastination.
So another Bonnaroo veteran, Bonnaroo Chris, has made a great packing list that we've always referred people to that has a lot of things that you wouldn't necessarily think of. But here's another piece of good news I will give you and everybody else. After you've done this a handful of times, it just kind of comes natural to you. You kind of subconsciously know, like, oh, I need that thing. I know where that's at. So even if it's the last minute, you kind of like have a little bit of like an animal instinct that tells you like you need these certain things. It'll happen to you too. Austin, you're next. What was your biggest challenge?
Yeah, I think one of my biggest challenges, really from my first year all the way to even now, I think for me, just being an introvert on the farm, it was just, that's such a big hurdle to like jump over. And I think, one of the challenges, and luckily being with you guys and like kind of coming out of my shell this past year really helped with it. But just, trying to learn that there aren't any strangers on the farm. Like, and almost every problem that I've ever had on the farm could probably been better resolved than, instead of, oh, let me just internally try to figure this out, versus, hey, let me just ask somebody or just like reach out, and like, 9 times out of the 10, you're going to get a better experience from just reaching out. So yeah, big challenge for me, just, coming out of that show, just leaning on your neighbor or neighbors. So yeah, just big challenge, and, getting better every year with that, hopefully.
And something I will say to other rookies on that note that you just mentioned is there are a lot of places you can reach out and feel very comfortable in doing so. So like there's the Bonnaroo Reddit, there's our Discord, there's the Festiverse Discord, Loophole on Facebook, where if you just tell everybody like, hey, I'm new, I don't know how this works, you're going to have dozens of people more than happy to help you out. There's probably some Ruvians in your town that are more than happy to help you out if you want to meet up and like just get advice from them. So very good point, Austin. I love that one. Imani, you're up next. What was something you had to overcome?
I would say for both years that I've been 24 and 25, time management. I think there were too many days this year, especially, where I slept in and I didn't go as hard as I should have. That's because we were partying into the night, so it's kind of like my day just shifted forward. But I was like, oh, there's more sets tomorrow. There were not more sets tomorrow in the case of Friday. So
Listen, this is a challenge even us decade plus veterans have. Don't feel bad about that one.
I'm realizing like the lineup was crazy this year, even last year. So timing it right, like if you want to catch the jam track, timing it right. If you happen to leave something at camp, give yourself time to be able to go back to camp. Everyone, we're all girls, so in our group, we all take 50 years to get ready, and there were like 7 of us this year, so there was no way we were getting out on time any day. So yeah, time management is key, And like you said, it's probably something we're going to be dealing with forever.
Listen, it's okay. I think sometimes you just have to realize that time doesn't matter on the farm. Some things just happen or don't happen because they were meant to or not meant to. And you have to like just kind of mentally accept that that's okay. But yeah, sometimes you like look up at your clock after you've been joking around with your buddies at camp and you're like, holy crap, it's 2 o'clock. I missed this thing. It's just going to happen. You have to be a little meticulous on yourself sometimes if there's like a 1 o'clock show that you're dying to see. You got to think 24 hours ahead sometimes. Very good point on that one. All right, guys, I got another one for you. We'll kind of combine these other questions I had for you too, because I think they relate a lot. So I want to hear from each of you. What would your big advice be to rookies who are coming to their first one next year? Like, what's your number one piece of advice that you would give them? And also, what would you do differently next time that you wish you had changed up a little bit in the past time or two? Again, Anthony, we'll start with you.
I think my big piece of advice is just to ask for help with things. I know, Austin, you kind of touched a bit on that, like, fall back on your community, ask for help. I remember showing up my first time and I was just given like the tent and the pop up and it's like, all right, put it together. And I'm thinking, oh, dang, I've never built a tent before. And so I had to go ask for help. I mean, even this year, Imani, how many times did I go ask you for stuff and questions? I felt like such a burden going up to your tent every second, asking for scissors or help with something. But like, that's what the community is there for. So I think it's important to know, like, you're not being a burden. And I think people are happy to help, if they want you to do that kind of thing, because we're not riding solo here. Like, this is all a community effort. And I remember I kept apologizing to Imani and she just kept telling me like, it's okay. Like, it's fine. That's what we're here for. So thank you, Imani. I would not have survived this year without you, by the way. So round of applause for that.
That's a good one, Anthony. I think I will tell you from like my perspective, having helped run Totem, like we try to walk a fine line. I don't think I've talked with you guys about this before. Like we want you to both feel like you're supported, but also we purposely throw you in the deep end of the pool because like we feel that there's probably stuff that you can learn and know better if you figure it out for yourself as opposed to somebody holding your hand about it. So yes, I think a lot of those things you have to learn, but you still learn from others. There's other skills and tricks and hacks other people may know that you may not ever figure out on yourself. And it sounds like Imani might know some of those. So that's a good one, Anthony. Austin, how about you? You're on mute, my man.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, so this is a little bit not super serious advice, but just a little fun tidbit that I need to remind myself. But when you're going through the packing anxiety, pre-prep, don't forget to bring like a fun thing. Whether that be like a great, like a flag, just something, a bubble gun, just like, I feel like maybe that will also help break up that, packing stress. And also, I don't know, I get very like, okay, if I don't need it, I don't need to bring it. Like, just only the bare minimum, just all the functional things that will keep me alive this weekend. And I don't know, maybe getting out of that and like, expressing yourself a little bit more, bringing a little more of that fun thing. And don't get me wrong, there are tons of people that need no help with that at all. They will bring the party with them no matter what. But for the more practical people or people that struggle with that, just something that I want to work on. But yeah, bring a fun thing, all I'm saying. Whether it be a bubble gun, a glow stick, something that, just something fun for camp. Just, have a little fun.
That's a very good one. Yeah. I like when people have really goofy and really individualistic things at their campsites that set it apart. First of all, it becomes a good marker for me. Like, hey, I know to turn left at the SpongeBob meme or something like that. But also it brings a lot of individuality and a lot of character to the campgrounds as well. So yes, I would piggyback on top of that and say like decorate your campsite in some kind of batshit insane way because it makes the whole experience better for everybody. That's a good one, man. All right. Last but not least, Imani, what's your advice?
My advice would probably be go in with an open mind, open hands, open heart. Kind of, I can be type A, I can be type B. I'm a very creative person. I feel like the best way to experience Bonnaroo is to be something kind of in between. Like you were kind of saying, if you miss something, it's probably the universe allowing you to experience something else. So yeah, just be open to whatever kind of comes your way. I would say prepare thyself, which is what you taught us. Prepare for others as well. So like Anthony, like you were saying, you not a burden at all. You're fantastic. Um, and that's kind of the point of like we had a wall of stuff so everyone could just come up to our camp and ask for whatever was needed or just take it, bring it back. We did not mind at all. Everyone is family. I would say that's the biggest thing is just have an open mind, open heart, be kind to others, and be prepared. Am I missing something else? I don't know.
No, those are very good.
Yeah.
You guys are making me think of something else too. Like obviously you have learned some of the skills it takes to be like a successful Bonnaroovian. Something else I'm curious in is like how has your experience helped you out like personally or your career? And Anthony, I think you have like a good story you can tell. But
Yes. Around the same time that I actually got the scholarship with Totem, I was hired at a local venue in the Cleveland area, Blossom Music Center, which if you've never been, if you're in the Cleveland area, Blossom is a beautiful venue. It's like in the middle of a national park. One of a kind, honestly. But yeah, I was hired on at the sustainability department in terms of like trying to make it a zero waste venue. And so to kind of do both simultaneously, getting into that Bonnaroo experience and also working at the music venue at the same time, they kind of complement each other well. And I think going to Bonnaroo and interacting with new people and learning to be curious when speaking to others, I think really helped with my job at Blossom in terms of, working with guests who come through who have questions, especially questions about like our sustainability initiatives. So yeah, they totally coincide. And I actually came back and worked Blossom again this season. I'm happy to report that we diverted 90% of our waste throughout the entire season. So only 10% of our waste ended up in landfill.
that's amazing, dude.
A lot of hard work.
You're doing some incredible work over there. I'm so proud of you. But you also said something else I want to highlight there.
Oh, go ahead.
When you're talking with others, be curious. I
Yeah.
love that. I think that's very good advice to people. Like when you're having a conversation, when you meet them in like either a personal perspective or personal or professional perspective, ask them more questions than they're asking you. Think of it as a little bit of a friendly competition. See how much you can learn about them. That is a great way to move ahead in life, man. I love that you said that. Austin, you're up next. How has your experience at Rue kind of shaped your career or other fun things in life?
Yeah, I think a bit in that vein, just like I think through Rue and everything I've experienced there, it's, it does kind of open you up to be more curious, to be more, um, more at ease or, inclined to learn more about people. And I think, that is just super helpful, just communicating, just down the line and, through professional work, things like that. In a lot of the jobs that I do a lot of freelance stuff here in Knoxville, mainly doing like production runner stuff or box office. And it's just, jobs that you're constantly just front facing with, various people, whether it be tour managers or, customers, just all sorts of people. And yeah, just having that, oh, I feel like I can learn more than you you can of me, or just like, I feel like I will benefit more if you just like, tell me more. And yeah, it's just, having that mentality has been super helpful throughout those jobs.
You guys are making me so proud. That is very good. I'm sensing a theme here. All right, Amani, last one is for you. How has your experience helped you out?
Yeah, I am echoing everyone else when I say this. Be curious. One of the biggest things I've learned is just be collaborative. So I think, and I'm going to say this with everything going on in the world, which is always going to be the case for eternity, you just have to take care of each other. Working in teams, having opportunities for community action, being environmentally minded, like with your group, Anthony, you guys got rid of 90% of your waste and it didn't end up in a landfill. So I think in order for us to continue having opportunities like we do, having festivals at like Bonnaroo, we have to take care of each other, take care of the environment, and really invest in one another and into the music industry, the next generation, pretty much all of that. It's like you can't pull the ladder up behind you. So if I'm able to, I'm going to continue just going hard, sharing my love for music and music festivals with everyone. And then we'll see what happens with Totem, have it expand worldwide. Well, I don't know. But yeah,
We'll see.
we'll see. The sky's the limit.
Crying in the club tonight, guys. You guys are killing it. Making me so proud. All right. Last thing before we get out of here. Like I said earlier, applications are open now. I think they're open through like the 1st of January. Charlotte will correct me on that, I'm sure. Right now, people are writing their essays. They're filling out their applications. What are your pieces of advice for people that are applying right now? What would you tell them that sets them up for success? And I'll just throw this out to the crowd.
I think an important thing is to be yourself. Yeah, I think in this world of like AI and adding and resumes and trying to get jobs in a job market that's very tiny, people are very focused on saying like the exact right thing and putting in what people are looking for. And I think this is the complete opposite of that. Like we're looking for genuine people, and when you're writing your essay, you just have to be true to yourself and keep it that way. So keep like the AI and stuff out of it, because this isn't a job application.
No.
This is something different. So you have to be yourself.
Very good. Yeah, it's not a job application, and it's not a prize. It's a scholarship. Those are two different things. Either the other of you, you got any advice for next year's class as they are filling out their essays?
Yeah. I would say, echoing that, just be yourself. And then yeah, just really lean into that. Lean into, maybe things that, you think wouldn't make you unique, or things that you don't think are interesting and, about yourself. Really highlight those, because, the more you're just as authentic as you can be about the things that you're into, I mean, that's going to resonate so well with these folks. So yeah, be yourself, be open, and yeah, you'll be fine.
Very good. All right, we ended up going in order anyways. Amani, how about your advice?
Yeah. I would say what everyone else has said, be yourself. Don't just approach it from like, this is an application, I have to be super formal. It's definitely not like that. Show us who you are, and we're going to do the same, obviously. I would say when you're filling out your applications, be mindful of like what it means to experience music and music festivals, and how you plan to share in that opportunity with everyone else, because you are a scholar, but the act of scholarship itself is really a form of outreach and expanding your mind and your connections. And that's what I would say to do, is just be really focused on what will come from you being on the farm. That's all.
That's very good too. And I want to circle back to something else you said earlier, Amani, too, that I think is very helpful. You talked about Rue being beneficial as a collaborative experience. I think that's something great for potential recipients for next year to be thinking about as well. Obviously, we want people to do well for themselves in either their personal endeavors or something that they might want to contribute to the farm. But also, we love seeing people work with one another, because all of us have different skill sets. All of us have our different favorite artists and bands. There's so much that we can contribute in so many ways. Like the silly metaphor that comes to mind is, oh, we're all bringing something different to the monkey bar, and we make so many different good cocktails. But that metaphor applies to life as well, I think. You guys know what I'm talking about. Well, hey, I am so thankful that you three jumped on with me this afternoon. I am so very proud of each of you. Each of you have done some amazing work in your personal lives. I have seen you grow in your time at Rue, and I want to stress, obviously I think it is the greatest party on the planet, but I wouldn't have helped start Totem if I didn't strongly believe that it can help develop people and turn people into better young people. And each of you have demonstrated what I hoped would happen perfectly. So I am beyond thrilled with what you have accomplished, and I can't wait to see you back, because we have some unfinished business. We got rained out this past year, but there is more party to throw, you guys. I'm sure you already remembered. But again, thank you so much. I appreciate each of you so much, and I can't wait to see you again in person.
Thanks so much.
All right, Drew, I am so happy to have you on. It was good to see your set the other night and hang out. How's it been going, my dude?
It's been going well. I had fun in Alabama, which is a sentence I can always say, you know. Alabama, Tennessee, like, there's always this weird Southern rivalry of, like, whatever state you're in, another state is the cousin that you pick on or whatever. But I love Alabama. I like Huntsville a lot. I love Birmingham. It's good to see you guys right now, and it was good to see you in person the other night.
You know, we still have someone to pick on over here. We have Mississippi next door. We can always, like, pick on if need be.
Yeah, you know, this is going to sound condescending to Alabama, but I almost feel like Tennesseans are like, dude, Mississippi's had it way too rough. We don't even have to pick on them.
We've got a good buddy that went to school over there, and like we've heard the stories from him. I'll introduce you to it. Our buddy JB. He's like got the best little brother energy ever, and I hate to say it, but that makes sense for a Mississippian.
Yep.
JD from Mississippi,
JB,
little
yeah.
brother energy. It all makes sense. My good buddy Russell went to Mississippi State, grew up in Starkville. He lives in New Orleans now, but he's one of my favorite people in the world. I got nothing but good things to say about Mississippi. I used to be a public defender. We can get into that if you want, and all the public defenders I know from Mississippi rule.
Okay, good to know. I've never heard that one before. Well, Drew, I want to talk a little bit about your Rue history. I think a lot of people know already about like your comedy stuff. You've been all over the place, been on TV and everything. But I think for our listeners, they probably want to hear like how many Rues you've been to. What were some of your favorite shows?
Damn, I should have thought about how many it's been. I think it's been 11. I'd have to like sit down and look. I know that my wife Andy has one more than me.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, so when we first started dating, she went without me. And then we've been without each other once a piece since.
Yeah.
But that first one, like we had kind of just started. Maybe it was actually right after we started or right before we started dating. This was like for the old heads. She went to the rail for Tom Petty at like 2 p.m. and then stayed there and like brought a skirt so she could piss secretly. Didn't like she had a water bag and that's it. Like didn't eat all day until after Tom Petty's set because back then there was no like set in line, and she also none of her friends. You know, she went with her high school friends. They were like trying to go see the jam. It's like they're like we'll see Tom Petty, but you know she was like obsessed with Tom Petty and Stevie Nicks when I met her, which you know is probably why we fell in love. So for people who don't know, if you've only been going to Rue the last like 5-6 years, there was no pit gate. There was no waiting in line. You went to the rail and you waited, or you fought through people to get up there. And you know she was a girl at that time, not even a woman, alone. So she just stayed there from 2 p.m. on.
We've done something like that a couple of times. We waited forever to get into the U2 pit back in 17, 18, whatever it was. That was kind of worth it. We waited maybe 5 hours to get in the Childish Gambino pit that one time.
That show was so good. That's one of mine. That's one of my favorite Rue experiences where you go, we'll see. I don't know if I'm gonna like this, you know, because he was a headliner, and I was like, I don't know. Is that the set you're talking about? His headlining set?
Yeah, so I saw him both times. He played the Witch stage back in, 15, I guess. But then it was the headlining set in 22, if I'm getting my years right.
22 sounds right.
Yeah.
It's not that I wasn't a fan at all. I'm just like, first of all, rap's hard live. I've seen Run the Jewels 3 times, and once was awful. It like, especially at a festival, people don't know how to do the sound. Like, you can't hear the lyrics. So, like, I was like, we'll see. And it was incredible.
Dude,
blew me away.
In the back of the pit, so we were literally like 9 feet away from him when he went up on that like riser thing to start the show. And we were all like, listen, I'm not going to get too much in the weeds on this, but we were like, is this really happening?
Yeah.
Like it was a lot to take in, man.
Yeah.
But that's awesome. I'm glad you can tell everybody that you're also a veteran like many of us. So like, you know, the lay of the land, you know, like how to get to the pit, obviously, and everything. But like, you've also had an experience on kind of like the other side of Bonnaroo as well. Like you came back to Manchester for something else once, right?
Oh, you're talking about yeah, for sure.
Yeah, this was it. Yeah, you were talking about this the other night. Yeah.
I thought you were talking about because I kind of played Bonnaroo. I'm like, well, I played the outskirts.
Well,
but,
wait. When did you do that?
The first year they did the themed. What do they even call the campgrounds now?
Plazas.
Plaza. The first
Yeah.
year they did the themed plazas. There's a Nashville themed plaza, or there used to be. I don't know if there still is. And it's for the Nashville themed plaza. One thing that the people who curated that did was they said, we're going to do comedy. Their argument was comedy is a big part of Nashville, which is true.
Yeah.
But really what they were doing is they were like, we're furious that you guys have taken away the comedy. And I know they did comedy in the coffee hut for a little while, but that wasn't even the people who organized it, like on the comedy side, were like, this is terrible. So we did comedy in the plaza, and I always told myself, if I play Bonnaroo, because when I started out, the guys I started with, Trey Crowder and Corey Forrester, I mean, we had a moment there. Like, we sold a TV show, we had a book, we went on The View. I'm not saying I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying we had a moment where I felt like, okay, we are in a position where we can say what we want to do. Fucking tell them we want to do Bonnaroo. Because me and Trey had been together. Trey spread his father's ashes at Bonnaroo.
What? Oh my God.
Yeah, it was beautiful. That's like one of the 3 times I cried at Bonnaroo.
Jeez,
Tyler
man.
Childers is responsible for the other 2. But and drugs. So we told them, and then they canceled the comedy tent right as WellRED's height, my former comedy troupe's height, and Bonnaroo's comedy tent. So anyway.
Well, wait, I want to ask you about that because this is your day job. I've heard from other stand-ups that they were a little intimidated by the old school comedy tent because so many people were coming in there just to sit in the air condition, or they were zoned out and weren't really paying attention to their set or whatever.
Who told you that?
Chris Hardwick talked about that on his podcast years ago.
Yeah, okay, Chris Hardwick. Is that the guy who used to host at midnight?
Yeah, same guy.
And didn't he hit his wife or something like that?
Something like that.
Or his ex-girlfriend? The only reason I say this is because I'm about to shit on him for what you just said. So I want to, it's like I'm validating in my head. What a pussy. What a fucking bitch, dude. There is something very intimidating about doing comedy at music festivals or around music. I'll acknowledge that. And if Chris Hardwick wants to call me a pussy, I'll deserve it. I will not follow a band. Ever. I don't care if it's a bunch of nobodies and everyone else in the audience is obsessed with me. It's my 60 biggest fans in the world, including my mama. I will not follow the band. I will open for the band every time because there's something genuinely almost mystical or spiritual about music. If you want to get scientific about it, it turns on parts of your brain and turns off parts of your brain that then with comedy, I have to flip it back. And there is a subconscious resentment, I think. I think there's a subconscious resentment when comedy follows music where people are like, man, we were vibing. And now you're making me think and listen. This sucks. But in terms of what he was complaining about, which is people weren't really there for the comedy, they were there for the air conditioning. Yeah, man. That's almost every night at a comedy club. You guys were there the other night. A guy threatened to shoot me 20 seconds after a guy got on stage. That's always there. But anyway, I told myself I'd get this tattoo if I ever got to play Bonnaroo. So that's the Bonnaroo symbol. It's inside a raven, which is an inside joke. And like all tattoo stories, the inside joke's boring.
Yeah.
But that was my buddy Corey Perry set that up. That was cool. I got an artist pass. I've hit all the passes other than guest now, I think.
Oh, we got to do that last year with the nonprofit. It's just
No, it was a staff pass.
Oh, it's staff pass. She's right. Yeah.
Oh, I've never done staff. Andy's done staff. I've never done staff. So staff
mean,
and guest is what I haven't done.
It was mostly for work stuff because we had to transport all the stuff to our nonprofit thing over there at Planet Roo.
Yeah.
But at risk at somebody being mad at me, I did use it once or twice to skip the line and come through the staff area. Which,
Of course you did. Hell yeah, dude.
I put the work in, man. I think
It's time to take advantage. One of my favorite moves I've ever done, though, I got to go on stage at Witch in the back on the side during God, I don't even remember what band it was. It wasn't something I was a fan of. I had a regular ass pass this particular year, but my friend had she legitimately needs escorts, the ADA.
Yeah.
And they had driven us through the back to get us to the main stage. And then when we left, they were driving us through the back again, and I just jumped off the fucking cart because I saw my buddy Rusty Odom. Shout out Rusty, old Knoxville guy who's worked with Bonnaroo for years. And he was like, "What's up, dude?" And then I saw also Tyler Childers' manager, Kyle's a buddy of mine. I saw them talking, so I was like, "What's up? How you guys know each other?" They were like, "Drew." And then Rusty was like, "You want to go on stage?" And I was like, "Yeah." So the coolest like on stage story was a year I just had general admission. We did get kicked off the Watt stage, me and Corey Perry, the year we had artist passes. We went over early in the morning to do Rue Radio. My buddy Jake James was involved in that back when that was a bigger deal. He interviewed us and told everyone about the comedy going on out in the campgrounds, which was really cool of him to have us on. And then on the way back, we just went over to the Watt stage because we were behind there, and we got on stage, and then security was like, "What the fuck are y'all doing?" And we're like, "We got artist passes." He's like, "I don't give a shit, dude. It's 8 a.m.
Yeah. I went up there once.
It's years ago.
Yeah. Well, that was actually, I guess I've been up there twice. So you've done the law stuff. What's the term for when too much time has passed? Statute of limitations.
Yeah. The statute of limitations is
Statute of limitations is up on this because this was 2014. We went with our buddy Aaron, and we snuck past the fence and just kind of gave ourselves a little tour. And I climbed on top of there. It's weird when nobody's there. It doesn't feel nearly as big. And then me and our buddy Andrew in Atlanta went on top of there about 3 years ago. She wasn't there, but like we went up there volunteering for the day, just help out the Planet Rue area, like painting stuff, sanding stuff down. And the guy that was kind of our escort, he was like, "Hey, you want to go on the stage?" And we were like, "Yeah, what kind of question is that?" That was pretty cool because they were starting to get everything ready, and you could see the scale of everything. I don't think after I've told these stories, I'll ever be back on there now, though.
I'm bummed that I can't remember who was on stage when I was side stage at which, but I also was on Watt when there was no one there. And you're right, it looks smaller. And if someone's listening right now and they get mad at you, I piss on them. Come on.
Yeah,
now.
no, they're usually very cool. We've gotten to know a lot of the staff, and like, even though they are like one branch of the giant evil corporation, like the people that run the show locally here, like they're super chilled. They're like literally one of us. Pretty much everybody there went as fans before they helped run the place. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's how my buddy Rusty is. That's how everybody I know who's involved, which is less people than you guys. You know, I have a lot of Knoxville connections. So, like, I used to see Ashley Capps around town.
Yeah.
And there was at least one time where he was at a comedy show, and I was like, "Oh man, if I do good, he's gonna put me in that." This is when I was a nobody. I was like so naive and stupid about how it all worked. So there's a lot of people, a lot of great people. I think you said it correctly. They're like one wing of an admittedly evil company, when you get to Live Nation. But a lot of them kind of resent that too. Now that you can't say that. That'll get people in trouble. Yeah. But I do think, it's like, unfortunately, that's kind of a reflection of our culture. I was talking to my wife once about, she was trying to boycott something, and I was with her. I got it. But I was like, at the time I was with Comedy Central, I was like, Viacom owns Comedy Central. Like, I work for one of the most evil fucking companies in the world right now. It sucks.
I love how like John Oliver is always more than happy to shit on literally everybody, whether they pay his check or not on his show. He does a good job with that.
I love John Oliver. I really do love him. I think that he's the closest thing to a real replacement for Jon Stewart that we'd ever have. But all of us millennials, I used to say we kind of have like rose-colored glasses about Jon Stewart. Like, it felt like he was doing something revolutionary, and maybe you look back on it, it's not. And then he made this comeback in the last year and a half. I'm like, nah, dude, he fucking rips, man. He tells everybody to fuck off.
Yeah. I love that bit he did where he was like trying to act like he was a suck up to the whole administration. Everything was gold. They were acting as if it was North Korea or whatever. I thought that was pretty good.
Yeah.
So we were talking earlier. So you've had many different hats doing different Bonnaroo things.
Oh, right. You were trying to set me up for that, and
that was a good little detour. I love that one too. But you told a funny story the other night. Like, you used to have a different day job.
So
back
we
in
have
the day, right?
We have a good friend out of Athens, Georgia. Jasmine. She runs a bar that has live music. She rips. I was there in Athens for Heathens. Which is Heathen's Homecoming, which is the Drive-By Truckers mini festival.
Yeah.
I was opening for the truckers. I was very blessed to do that. I count those guys as friends now, and don't meet your heroes. I mean, unless they rip, and then meet them. And so we met her when I was opening for the Truckers. Actually, her and her friend heckled me, and I shit all over them. And then they came bouncing up after the show, and we were like, "Who heckled you?" And I was like, "Yeah, fuck off." But then they're like, "We run a bar. You want free alcohol?" And I was like, "Okay, I'll be nice to you." So she's actually who got me lined up with Halloween, which I know you're going to next week, and I am too.
We're gonna come back around to that. I want to ask you about that.
So she had either never been to Bonnaroo or she was going already that year, like had nothing to do with meeting us. So we like met, we had a good weekend or whatever. Then we hung out at Bonnaroo, and you know how this thing goes where you're like, okay, we're like very like-minded. And also Andy and I had been thinking about moving to Athens. So when she heard that, we became very close. So she became part of my festival crew. And that's kind of why she started taking us to Halloween. At Bonnaroo 2 years ago, she got popped on Thursday, I think.
That's way too early.
Marijuana and mushrooms. I don't think she'd mind me telling that. We do have attorney-client privilege, but she waived it. So I used to be a criminal defense lawyer. I didn't do this joke about it. Maybe I did. Got pretty drunk the other night. But I always say, like, yeah, drink that in for a second. Imagine you rocking to my office, like, what do we do about this marijuana charge? I'm like, I don't know, dude. Close the door. We'll burn one. We'll figure it out. So she gets cited. They let her go. She was like, he was totally handling my Molly and kind of looking at it and just threw it aside like he didn't know what it was. And I was like, did you have it in a baggie? She's like, yeah. I'm like, I think that dude's just in love with you, girl. So, because he was like, what are you doing later? What shows are you going to? Like, he literally was telling her when he gets off, right? So she's obviously bummed. And I'm like, look, I used to be a criminal defense lawyer. Like, I can handle this. I know that for Bonnaroo, like, it's expensive, but there's rarely jail time, especially if you don't really have a record. Like, I'll go be your lawyer, right? And, you know, it sucked. Like, she knew it was going to be expensive, and also they took all of her fucking drugs. I was like, I got you there too, girl. So we replenished her as best we could, allegedly. And then I was like, I'll be your lawyer. And we partied all weekend. Cool, right? Well, a few months passed, and now it's time to pay the piper. And, like, I got to go down to Manchester, Tennessee, not during Bonnaroo week, and be my girl's lawyer. And I started, like, getting tense about it because I'm starting to think, like, I'm not going to Bonnaroo. I've never been to this town during non-Bonnaroo. So I started looking up, like, what's Manchester? What's the demographics here? It's a lily white town of like 60,000 people that leans super right wing. I look up the DA. He's got some quotes that'll make your butthole pucker. You know, like, I'm like, this is a dude who's like out for blood, you know? But at the same time, I'm like, yeah, but I've always heard, like, my buddy Teets, who is sober now, good for him. And he's only been to Bonnaroo once since he got sober, but he's one of my early Bonnaroo bros. First time I did mushrooms at Rue, I did them with him, and he told me how many to take, and he lied. It's 1:30 in the morning. We took 2 minutes. Anyway, he's a great attorney. He told me to call. He gave me a guy's number. He's like, I told him you were going to call him. This is the dude. He'll give you some pointers. Tell him you know me. I'm like, all right. So I go down there, and this is what I talk about on stage, and this is true. I didn't realize till I got there that I was going to Bonnaroo court. It makes sense if you think about it, but they have a day for everyone who got arrested at Bonnaroo. And that is such a wild swath of humanity. And if all your listeners, I'm sure, have been to Bonnaroo a bunch. Think about who gets arrested. There's some unlucky people. It's always marijuana, the smell. The undercovers smell it, and they get you, right? And then drug dealers. And then the wookiest wooks who've ever wooked in the wook world.
They cannot borrow everything, guys.
Dudes who are 20 and they have neck tattoos that they got 13 years ago. We're talking about patchouli fire hits you when you open the courtroom door. The all-stars of Wookville. Like, I opened that door, it looked like the Juggalos had to dress up for church because their grandmas made them. They all got, like, really, really dark dress clothes on, you know what I mean? One dude, when they called his name, hit the Visine. I was like, hey, bro, I'm not your lawyer, but some free advice here. Do that before they say your name. We all saw you do it. Like, you're high at court? But my favorite, so, I postponed my friend's case or whatever. My favorite story of the evening, and this is true, was the last guy. I think his last name started with a W or whatever. Like, he was the last one called up. And the judge, literally said this. He goes, public intoxication? Who gets arrested for being drunk at Bonnaroo? And this dude has emerged from the back, and he's got on, like, work boots, work jeans. Like, he looks like a redneck, sleeveless T-shirt in court, but the T-shirt's tie-dye, right? He's like a redneck hippie. And he's walking up, and the judge says that, and the first words out of his mouth before he gets the mic is, Judge, that's exactly what the freak I've been trying to figure out. He has sunglasses on indoors. Gets to the mic. The next words out of his mouth is, Judge, these are transition lenses. It's bright in here. I cannot get him to change. The judge started laughing so hard. He looked at the DA. The DA just kind of went like this. And the judge goes, I'm going to dismiss this. I forgot this part because I didn't say this on stage the other night, but this did happen there. Before he said he dismissed it, he goes, tell me what happened. And the guy goes, I got tired. It says on that I was in the road, right? And the judge is like, yeah, it says you were lying in the road. Judge, I laid down in the ditch. I was out of the way, being safe.
That does make a difference.
I believe them that I was in the road, but I think they woke me up. And then I got in the road. And the judge dismissed it. And it was pretty humbling to find out that Bob, the redneck wook, was a better lawyer than me. I didn't get my friend's case dismissed. But I'll never, it's like part of my Bonnaroo story now. And I'm really pleased it happened. And for people wondering, my friend got a sweetheart deal outside of the money. I mean, we got it. The dude made me an offer, and I was like, fuck that. Like, knock it down to misdemeanor and dismiss it if we pay, and we've done all that. So it's dismissed, and we get it off a record soon.
This was one of my favorite stories you told the other night. I feel like you could almost do like a Law and Order spinoff.
Oh my God.
That's just about like Wook Court after all these festivals.
Dude, Dan, listen, my dream, I've been talking about this for over a year now with some of my friends. So I haven't even been touring much. I've got a 2-year-old. I've got a lot of personal stuff that's not fun. I won't get into going on with like sickness in my family and all that. Wook Court is literally at the top of my list when I get back to making sketches. The first thing I'm doing is a Judge Judy style fake courtroom of Wook Court. Dude, the possibilities are endless. Endless. You gave him he gave you a ride to the festival, girl. And he's like, yeah, I'm bringing her to court. She won't put out. And it's like, bro, she don't have to anymore. It's 2025. And he's like, I hear you, but we had a contract. The back of that car said ass, gas, or grass. No one rides for free. And then she says, but I gave you marijuana, didn't I? Ground score. Who's it belong to? I spotted it. I scooped it. Now we're in a wook fight. You borrowed my bong and you broke it. Yeah, but I gave you a bong 7 years ago at the Bass Fest. Dude, there's so many. You guys could come up with a billion more. I should actually bring y'all in as consultants. Wook Court is a well that is so deep.
No, we have like dozens of stories that have actually happened in here, obviously.
And my dream.
Yeah.
I want that. And then here's my dream. This has to go. If I do it correctly, this goes viral. And if one of your listeners steals this from me, I will literally strangle you to death.
He knows
it's going to take me 6 months at least to get this off the ground just because of what I got going on. When this starts to go viral, here's my dream. I'm going to have live real Wook Court at every festival I go to. We'll do it at the bus at Rue.
Yeah,
we will have a day.
You want that for real?
Yeah.
We will do Wook Court at the bus.
Okay.
I will be the judge. You can be the bailiff. You can be the court reporter, Charlotte, and we will have Wook Court there. They will come in. We'll have through both of our platforms, we'll have people tell us what their issues are. We'll have them. They can reach out to us during the week with something that happens, and they'll come by and we will settle their disputes at the bus and tape it. We'll make them sign a waiver. We'll make them sign that whatever our rule is going to be the law of the land.
I love this. So, like, if you're the judge, instead of just a black and white robe or whatever, you need to have like a giant patch and like a old Panic T-shirt from the 90s or something.
That's great. I think here's what we should do if we really get into it. We'll make a robe out of old tie-dye t-shirts.
Yeah.
There you go.
Okay, I want to make this happen. We got to talk later. I got some
You're
ideas.
exactly the kind of guy I need, because you're the kind of guy I'm like the kind of guy who's like, this is a great idea, and I'm lazy. And you're the kind of guy who's like, I'll make this happen.
No, I will make this happen because I love this. All right, we got like what 9 months of work
Yeah.
to make this happen. Okay,
What
we're gonna-
court? Bonnaroo.
Wood
I guess I'm going back.
Yes, you are. Yes, you are. All right. So, Drew, we got something else we need to go over to. Me and you were talking about this for a moment, not before last, whatever it was. So, you're headed down to Halloween, too. We have a bunch of listeners and a bunch of friends that are going to be in a big group camp. What number hula is this going to be for you?
And, I think I told you 4 the other night, but I was talking to Andy about it. I think it's 3.
Okay.
So same friend, the one that I helped out, she was like, you got to go to hula with me. It's the best one. And I was like, I don't know. I like some jam bands. I'm looking at the lineups. I like some EDM. It looks like she goes, that's not the point.
That's what everybody tells me. Yeah.
And she's like, it's not the point. And I was receptive to that because I'd been to Burning Man right before I met her. And Burning Man had blown my mind.
Yeah.
And we were talking about this the other day when I was talking about the band Justice. I am 41. I don't get my mind blown as much as I used to. That's just that's how life works. When you're in your 20s and you haven't experienced a lot and your brain's open and you don't need drugs to open it up and you're full of hope and all those other things, you get your mind blown, whatever. But like as you get older, you've seen a lot, and also literally your brain's shrinking and you're just sort of like, it was pretty good, I guess. Burning Man blew my mind.
Yeah, we
And
know.
it
We've
blew
been
my
twice.
mind in ways. Sorry, go ahead. You cut out for a second.
Oh, I was going to say, we know. We've been twice now. We had a blast.
Right. And it blew my mind in ways that I didn't expect. And the words that I would use, and it's hard to talk about this without sounding like you're in a cult, and it's hard to talk about this for people who haven't been, but the words that I would use is like art and scale, community, something about letting go of society and like actually pushing off things you don't even know are changing and affecting your personality, and them dissipate, like all this stuff that you've heard people say, and if you're like me, you kind of made fun of in your head or out loud on stage on a microphone. So then she starts talking about hula and why I should go, and she's not quite Burning Man cult level, but she's just like, dude, it's just the vibes, the way the forest feels, and I'm like, in my head, I'm like, I think pre-Burning Man, I'd have rolled my eyes at her and fucking moved on. Also, she's very hot. And I'm very receptive to that, and I'm open about that. And my wife too. And my wife knows that. I'm not trying to be a skis-ball. My wife's like, I don't know. She's hot. Her friends are cool. Like, it'll be a good time at least, And then we went, and I guess we just got it. Like, so first of all, weather. Let's talk about that. Almost every festival I love, it's a marathon. Not there, dude.
Yeah,
It's
that's what I've been
perfect.
hearing. It's like 70s during the day, maybe high 50s at night. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, and if it dips below that, you bring one coat, then you get to look cool in your fucking coat. You get to take pictures of your friend blowing their breath out, It looks like they're on DMT or something. The music is great. Whoever books it, it's like people you haven't heard of and stuff will blow your mind. It's also just gorgeous, and the art is really good. The lake is... It's incredible to see at night.
These are the same selling points that I've heard from our big group
Yeah.
of friends that have
Yeah.
been going every year. They're like, hey, there'll be a couple of bands you like, but you're really going for the party. Saying the same things that you were. There's a handful of good bands that I know pretty well. You and I were talking the other night. I'm excited to go see Goose, along with some Dead music before that. I thought about another. You were asking me for some other recommendations. Glass Beams. I've really got big on them in the past couple months. I'm excited to finally see them live. They're playing like Friday or Saturday. I can't remember which day.
I hope it's Friday. My wife and I have got to split up. We're taking the kid. That's another thing I like about it. He hangs out with us during the day, and unlike Bonnaroo, it's not so big or so hot that I feel like I can't have him there. I can have him there during the day, And look, I don't judge people too harshly if you got your kid there at 4 a.m, but I will take your ass to Wood Court. If I see a child under 11 past midnight, I'm taking your ass to Wood Court. We're going to get Wood custody. But anyway,
Now,
I
I
think
will tell you, we hadn't talked about this. I took our niece this past year, and she is that age, you know, she's a preteen, and she had a blast. I could tell that she was at moments just kind of like, whoa, taking it all in, didn't really have a lot to say because it was like a lot for a kid to process, you know. But I asked her after the fact and everything, and she had a good time. She was genuinely bummed that we had to go home early.
Oh,
Um,
I'm gonna take him all the time. I think people should take their kids if they want to festivals. I was really making a half joke or comment about, sometimes at a Wook festival, you do be seeing parents dragging awake kids around at 3 in the morning, and the
Yeah.
fucking parents, their eyes are as big as stars. And again, I genuinely try not to look at that and go, "You're a bad parent," because I don't know them. I don't know what's going on the other 360 days out of their lives. But in that moment, I'm going, "You know better than this, dog. Like
Yeah.
you know that this 4-year-old shouldn't be in this wagon right now.
Yeah.
But you couldn't let it go. Like, and there is a part of me that's like, but I know there's people who look at me at shaky knees. I had my son on my shoulders. We were there during the day, and I know there were people looking at me like, really, And you get on Reddit, I want to say something about all the people with kids, and you can just tell it's not a parent. I'm like, bro, you don't know shit about kids.
Yeah.
Shut the fuck up.
See, I've told everybody it's a kid by kid basis, you know, like some kids are probably not going to be into it and they're going to feel claustrophobic or whatever. And me and our niece Lacey talked about that. I was like, hey, if this gets too weird, if it gets too crowded, you let me know. We're out. And there was only one time where that happened. It was at 1 a.m. at Dom Dollar. She's like, this is too crazy. I'm tired. Let's go back to the bus. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, we're done. Let's go.
I was with my 19-year-old nephew that night. You're talking about Thursday this year?
Yeah.
And we went to ICP to see it. He was really interested in the Juggalos as like a cultural event. And then there was a moment where he'd gone with his friend group, and you know how 17, 18, 19-year-olds are. Some of them got too drunk. Someone ended up in the hospital. Someone got a concussion. He was just like, I think I want to go lay down. I'm like, yeah, dude, let's just get out of here. But anyway, that's how I ended up going to Hula. Was our friend who I trusted at that point was like, it's the best party. And we went, and I brought my buddy Brian, who I brought into the Bonnaroo fold. Like, my story with Brian is he's my best friend. I've known him since I was in second grade. You guys met him, and he came to Alabama with me. Like, we're close. We're like brothers. It took me 3-4 tries to get him to go to Bonnaroo. The heat, the stinky, he didn't know all the bands. And 2 days into his first Bonnaroo, he's like, I'm getting an RV. He bought an RV the week we got home. So his wife could go. She has a heart issue. She's the one who has to do the ADA stuff. And because he was like, this is my life now, and I need an RV to be a part of it. I took him to Hula with us, and we've started bringing in more and more of our Bonnaroo group. And I agree with him, he's like, I think this is my fest now. I'm not saying that I won't go to Bonnaroo anymore, but if there's ever a year where it's one versus the other, I think it's Hula for me. And I'm like, I think I feel the same way.
I've heard that from other people.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna go find out. Too bad
I
you're
guess
not.
you will.
Yeah, I'm gonna hang with him. Yeah, but I wanna find you during J-Rad and Goose if I don't see you before then.
Dude, I love Goose. I'm not a huge jam band guy, but I'll goose it up. I'm about to get goosed.
Have you seen him before?
Yeah, twice.
Yeah. I guess 2 for me too.
Yeah.
I went and saw him at the Ascend in Nashville about a year or so ago, whatever
Good
it was.
venue.
Like our buddy Evan, who follows this kind of stuff religiously and watches shows on Nugs and stuff, he was like, damn, you got like one of the best banger shows of the year. We were blessed that night. We got like some 20-minute jams of some of their big hits. It was great, man. I think that's probably the number one for me at Hula. Next week, technically. It snuck up on us.
Yeah, hell yeah. So Saturday's my wife's day. I'm bummed, and my kid will be up till 11 because he stays up till 10 on his own, 10:30. But I'm gonna miss Parcels, and I'm a little bummed.
Oh,
yeah. I didn't see him at Bonnaroo because they conflicted with Idols year before last, and Idols is my favorite rock band, and I do not regret that because a lot of people were bummed about Parcels' set because they took it easy, and B, Idols is the best rock show I've ever seen at Bonnaroo. Other than maybe the Ben Harper jam.
Wow. That's high praise.
That's the Ben Harper jam with John Paul Jones and Questlove.
Yeah.
I still dream about it, man. When you
I
got
missed-
a 17-minute cover of a Led Zeppelin song, and it may not be true, but in the moment you're convinced it's better than Led Zeppelin, and the people around you feel the same way. Again, maybe just in the moment.
Yeah, I missed that. That's been years ago. I can't remember what I was at instead. Shame on me. There's been a number of shows, like in retrospect, I was like, where the heck were we at? Why didn't we go? I
Yeah.
regret to tell you that Tom Petty show you were talking about at the beginning, that was our first year, and we were babies and skipped Sunday. I didn't go to it. I have so much shame. And we thought, oh, sure, we'll see him again one of these days. No, that
No.
didn't happen. Yeah.
I was in Los Angeles the night he played the Hollywood Bowl 4 days before his death, and I didn't know this, but my writing partner, Trey Crowder, the Little Redneck, a lot of people I'm sure have heard of him. He's much more famous than me. He didn't tell me this till later. He got offered tickets to go see Petty at the Hollywood Bowl with meet and greet, and he said no because he had us in town, and we had plans to do podcasts, to like meet other comedians and stuff, and he felt guilty about canceling, and then Petty died 4 days later. So he had yeah, I'll do that one day. No, you won't, sir.
Oh, gosh. I feel his shame. It sucks, man. I wish I had gone.
Well, who are some of your favorites? Both of you. Charlie, you barely
God.
talked. Let's hear this.
You go first.
He asked for you. What's
Oh, no,
some of your favorites?
You go first.
All right. Well, saying that McCartney in 2013 wasn't your favorite is like saying the Bible isn't your favorite book.
Right.
You're not allowed to not say that.
I
But
got a
after
good
that,
story for you. Go ahead, though.
I've told this story on here enough times, but Friday night of 2016 was my favorite night of Bonnaroo and probably the favorite night of my life because we went from M83 at the Witch to LCD Sound System at the What, and then Tame Impala back at the Witch for late night. And there was something after that, but I don't remember because that 3 made my night. It was 3 of the best shows I've ever seen. I had one of those like big epiphanies that night, and the universe suddenly made more sense. And Tame Impala became my favorite band. So I always think of that night. There's been other ones too.
Congrats on the new album. I really dig some of it.
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
My quick thoughts on Deadbeat is it's a grower. The first listen, you're like, what the heck is this? But by like 3 lessons in, you're like, oh, it's one of those
Yeah.
deals.
It's not for jamming. It's for thinking.
You get it. Yeah.
Mhm.
What were some of your
That year you just referenced is the year Andy went without me. She has very high opinions of that evening. She's like one of those, I didn't really know who Tame Impala was, and then I'm like crying in a field like, oh my God, what a
Yeah.
fucking show.
I'll never forget that as long as I live. But here's some of yours.
Oh, it was like 14, 15 or something, and St. Paul and the Broken Bones played an afternoon show, and that's probably my second favorite show at Bonnaroo ever.
Wow.
It was when he rode the rug through the crowd.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
cool.
Just because of his energy that he puts into it. And he talked
He
about how
put-
he used to work Bonnaroo and he volunteered and all this stuff. And oh my
Yeah.
God, it was so
He-
good.
He's pretty friendly with us WellRED boys. I think he's pretty close with Corey, and he's like a genuine dude. And I mean, and that doesn't, like if someone's a bastard but they make great music, I'll just let it go. But it is nice when you find out someone's like really fucking cool. He's really fucking cool.
Hmm.
Who else? Anybody else?
I mean, anytime Old Crow is played,
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
they need to come back too. I think.
yeah. Remember when they let him have the whole Sunday?
Yes.
On the Witch, yeah, we were there.
Yep.
Yeah.
That was awesome, dude. But yeah, they're overdue. Catch hosted the Opry about 5 years ago,
Mhm.
but they haven't been back since. And they've had new albums, I think 2 since then, so there's no reason to not have them. Yeah, we've seen them 12 times over the years.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. I'll
What
just
about
mention some of my favorites,
Yeah.
some of my favorite experiences. I'll just do them in no particular. Let me say, first of all, one of my bigger regrets, I had a VIP given to me the year McCartney played, and I had went back to my camp or went back to I don't know what I had done. Long story short, I walked through a gate I wasn't supposed to. I kind of realized I was in the back, and I just kept going. I just kept doing this. And I convinced myself something cool was going to happen. And all that happened was I was just hanging out in the back where people were moving trash. And I missed 45 minutes of Paul McCartney.
Oh my God.
I had convinced myself dude, you got into the back. You've got to go something's going to, and nothing, I was on drugs. I was and then I went back, he played a long set and it was great. But unfortunately, that's one of my big Bonnaroo regrets right there.
Yeah, nothing's gonna top that. That's pretty bad. You got back in time for Hey Jude and Live and Let Die, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Okay, good. I was
Got to my friends too, we're like hugging.
Yeah.
All right, no particular order. Avett Brothers, whatever year that was, they were in the middle of the day when no one knew who the fuck they were, and my wife dragged me there when she was my girlfriend at the time, and I fell in love with them and her in that moment. I was like blown away. And you can say whatever you want about the stomp, clap, hey genre, but those motherfuckers invented it. Everyone ripped them off. They actually wrote their own shit, and until Rick Rubin unfortunately ruined them, and look, he's got a great track record, but he ruined the Avett Brothers. They were killer, and it was unbelievable. Here's another hot take for your people out there, especially Rue heads. Kanye West has given me two of my favorite fucking memories at Bonnaroo of all time. Fuck people who don't get it. Fuck people who don't love a show. Fuck people who don't like a train wreck. To quote Kanye West, quote Kanye West at Bonnaroo when he came back after 7 years away or whatever it was. Oh, you booing me? You booing me right now? Well, when's the last time 85,000 motherfuckers showed up in a field to boo one man? That's right. It ain't ever happened to you because you ain't nobody. Kanye West puts on shows. The first time we saw Kanye, we waited till 5 a.m. That's when everybody got mad at him. Now, what people may not know is that they had to switch him stages.
Yeah.
Because his spaceship wouldn't fit on the Witch. And you can chalk it up to him being a diva. You can chalk it up to that evil corporation that you guys were alluding to, not having their shit in order. You can say, I'm with the artist. You can say I don't care. What happened that night was he was like, my spaceship ain't working, then I'm not going on. I respect that. They said, okay, we'll put you on the what stage. By the time it got to Eddie Vedder, that he was no longer the last act of the night, he was wine drunk, and they told him Kanye was being a dick about it. That made Eddie Vedder mad, so he played an hour longer than he was supposed to and kept saying, while hammered drunk on stage, hey, if you're waiting on Kanye, they wanted me to announce, and then he'd just play another song. He did that 4 times. It's a very funny troll, but of course it pissed Kanye off. How could it not? Then they had to reset the stage and put his shit in, so it took a while. But if you waited, if you got over yourself and you did the right drugs and you stayed up, that is one of the best fucking sets I've ever seen at Bonnaroo. Hands down, it's not even fucking close. When he played Good Morning when the sun came up, I had a religious experience above anything my mother's ever felt in church when she was talking to Jesus and the Holy Spirit or having her threesome with him, whatever the hell she does. It was anyone listening right now, if you didn't stay for it, then you don't have the right to an opinion. If you left or you wrote, now if you stayed for it and you didn't have a good time, I'll hear you out. Maybe you were mad at Kanye. Maybe you're just out of juice. You're not supposed to stay up till 6 a.m. on Bonnaroo if you're not planning to. If you don't time things correctly, I get that. That's another time I fell in love with my wife. She vomited while we were sitting down because she was so sick and tired, and then cleaned it up with a Bonnaroo schedule and went and threw it away and came back. That's a soldier. Kanye West has blown my mind at Bonnaroo. Here's another hot take. Die Arntwood, one of the best shows I've ever seen. Blew people's minds.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
Songs, and I was just like, y'all MFers need Jesus. That was the weirdest crowd I've ever seen at Rue.
It was so weird. The show was so weird. That was art. That was one of those things where you're going, I'm watching somebody do something, and they don't give a shit about anything other than what they've created here. Nothing else. So good. Odessa, every time I've seen him, that's just one of those where you're like, what the, how can anyone be this good at anything?
Yeah.
There's a billion. Oh, let me tell one more. Gogo Bordello in a tent.
Oh.
Did you guys see that?
I didn't, but our good buddy Mitchell has been talking about that for forever.
I've seen him twice since then, and it's been good, but I didn't really know anything about him. Trey actually dragged me to it, I think, or no, maybe that was the year we didn't know each other, but we were there at the same time. Maybe my friend Jake dragged me. Anyway, I just walked in. They're throwing wine everywhere. They're playing Roma music, gypsy music. I don't know if they say it's gypsy music, so they say that's what it is. Blew me away. I mean, just like nothing's ever been more fun.
Rue does a very good job of getting good, like, internationally flavored artists. One of my favorites that I came to love over the past couple of years is Imdu Mokhtar. And a lot of Ruians joke that they're like, oh, that's that band that leaked the lineup. Like, yes, technically, but you should know them for their music because they're badass.
Yeah.
I literally like found myself in tears when I saw them in the tent when they were at Rue, because like the story of that guy is incredible. He was going from like just coming from basically nothing, trading music on like memory cards, to killing it, shredding on stage at Bonnaroo. I was like so happy for that guy, and I don't even know him. I was just crying, dude. It was amazing.
Yeah, they've blown my mind too. I didn't even. What did you say he's known for now? I only know him for his music.
Well, he was known because like 4 years ago, it was 21. The lineup got canceled anyways. Hit social media accidentally leaked the poster like the night before it was supposed to release or something like that. So it's just from the Ruvian inside joke.
No, they had a scheduled post and it went out the day before, I think is what it was.
Because they were like, oops, they're on some other time zone.
That rules.
Yeah, I mean, technically
They're
they
on
didn't
Africa time, dog.
Yeah, they didn't break
I
the
lived in
embargo.
Africa for a little while, and that's a phrase.
Yeah. Well, Trey, I'm so happy to have you on tonight. It's good to have you here in Huntsville and hang out finally the other night. Sounds like me and you are going to be hanging out down in Florida on 2 weekends, whatever it is. I understand you guys got something going on that you're working on in Nashville before too long, right?
Yeah, so I don't tour with WellRED anymore. No bad blood, just we do our own thing. We tour independently. But every year, me, Trey Crider, and Corey Forrester, the original WellRednecks, Liberal Rednecks, whatever you want to call us, get together and we do Zanies for a weekend in December. We are there, whatever the 14th weekend is. We're there Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We have 5 shows. I think there's still tickets to 3 of them. I know 2 of them have sold out already. But that'll be a big time. Come on out. Someone messaged me the other day. They're flying in from Minnesota, which, goddamn, I've made it, dude, if people are flying in from Minnesota to see it. But, yeah, if you're interested in comedy at all and you live anywhere near Nashville, that'll be a real good time. It'll be a real good show. I can promise you that.
All right, sweet. Well, I'm sorry, what are those dates again?
Oh, you're going to make me look. Whatever December is the 14th of Friday. What's the Friday? Saturday?
I don't know. That sounds right about right.
I don't know. It didn't take me long. I got it pulled up. Okay, we were there the 11th, 12th, and 13th. I literally got it wrong. So
Good thing I
the
called you out.
14th is a Sunday, and we will not be there.
All right, good deal, man.
Wait a minute. Let me go check. I now kind of think it might be the weekend after that. As you guys can tell, I'm real committed to my life.
I mean, you just know it's a random weekend in December. We'll figure it out from there.
Look, man, I know that I go when it's time to go. You know what I mean? I don't have to buy tickets. I don't have to be as worried about it as everyone else. When I show up, they just let me in. Okay, I was wrong. It is December 19th, 20th, and 21st.
All right. Well, Merry Christmas. That sounds wonderful. Drew, you also got like a podcast and some other ways people can find your stuff too, right?
For sure. So I still do a podcast with those guys called the WellRED Podcast. It's very fun. It's me, Trey, and Corey. And then I got one called Gravy Baby that I do with my buddies, DJ Lewis, who is the smartest, wildest, funniest motherfucker to ever live, and Carmen Morales, who is, honestly, she's funnier than everybody I know. She lives in L.A. She opens for Ron... well, goddamn, everyone's going to be upset. I forget. Funches. You guys know Ron Funches. She opens for Ron Funches. Yeah. Carmen's very hilarious. She bought me this prof shirt. I do this podcast with them that I'm very proud of, where the theme is essentially, we call it Good Vibes for Trash People. And the idea is, one day we were like, how come only the worst people in the world get to talk about positivity? You guys know what toxic positivity is, right?
Yeah.
Like people are just like fakely positive all the time, and it's just like a joke.
That has come up in the Bonnaroo community because obviously we're all radiating positivity, but there's some people that just do it in a slightly inauthentic way, and everybody's just a little weirded out by it.
Right. So the 3 of us, one of the numerous things we have in common is that we're just kind of a little cynical, but we don't necessarily want to be. We're a little like, well, we're comics. We call shit like we see it. But that doesn't mean we don't have joy in our life. So the theme of the show, we call it, instead of positive toxicity, what is it?
Toxic positivity, yeah.
Instead of toxic positivity, we call it positive toxicity. What we're like, so here's the idea. Shut the fuck up, you dumbass. Of course you're the best. Are you a fucking moron right now? You're the greatest person I know, Daniel. Charlotte, you are the shit. Look at all the world you guys have created together, you idiot. That's us in a nutshell. It's like the dad you always needed.
Chloe, she kind of has that attitude sometimes. She's a sweetheart. Well, that's awesome. All right. Well, I hope everybody can follow up with that. Hey, find me and Drew down at Hula, and it sounds like Wook Court is very possibly going to be a thing next year.
Wook Court, Bonnaroo next year. And also, let me just say, I hope Prof is going to be there. They like the festival circuit in general needs to get on the most fun rapper in the game right now. He is the most fun. His shows are incredible. I really want to see Prof at Bonnaroo, and I really want to see Rufus Du Sol come back.
Ooh.
And if they can get Justice, I know they can't, but if they could, holy shit. There's nothing like that in the world right now. Justice is unfucking believable.
I want to see that too. Who knows? We've heard that they might get some acts back that they were supposed to have last year, but we were joking last week. It's not like you can just go to Publix and be like, ooh, I want this band and this band, you know? Unfortunately, it just don't work that way. But I think there will be some y'all and everybody else will be happy with. We talked about that the other night. But yeah, dude, we got to talk down at Hula. I'm going to introduce you to our buddy Maddie, and we got to pitch to him Wook Court because he can help make it happen, dude. He's going to be down at Hula too. I want to make this happen. I'm dead serious. I love it.
I'm in.
All right, dude. Well, thanks so much for hanging with us, man. We'll see you soon.
All right, big thanks to Drew for coming on the show.
I did not realize that he had that many Bonnaroo bits.
Right.
We heard a version of one of those stories when he was doing his set over at Levity Live here in Huntsville a couple of nights ago, but some of the rest of that and more of the details I had not heard before.
Well, it's funny, he was talking about when he played Bonnaroo, and after he started talking about it, I remembered that year because I remember seeing him on the schedule.
Yeah, I kind of do vaguely remember now.
No, you know what else happened that year? Was
What?
that same barn had open mic stand up that somebody did. Attempted.
About that. I think I did pretty good. Not as good as him. I didn't tell him about that I tried that once.
Well, you started a whole thing about jorts. So
that did become a thing, yeah. I am very proud of that. Well, I can tell him he can try his hand working a nonprofit or doing my day job if I can try his day job. I don't know. I think I did okay. But yeah, Charlotte, something we neglected to do in the first half is we have some people that have been helping make some amazing things happen with Totem, so we need to thank our Patreons, if you would help me.
Sure.
Yeah.
Olivia, Claire, John, Lexi, Danny, Lisa, Butter Crew Nick, Delaney, John with Texas Roo Crew, Brady, I Am Rave Dad, Courtney, Casey with Texas Roo Crew, Christy, Jums, David and Aurora, String Bean, Zach and Jeremy, Amber, Andrea, JB, Sam, Austin, James, Hygiene Queen, Chris and Shy, Dan, Ernst, Harris, Keith, Casey, Nick, Maddie, Bruce, Andrew, Kent, Randy, Madison, Bosco, Eric and Ben, Evan, Chloe, and Sean.
Thank you, everybody. You know who you are. I'm putting this laptop away. You can help us out at patreon.com/Rebus and learn more about Totem at totemfnd.org. All of those people who are donating, every dollar, every cent, every whatever, every little Bitcoin, whatever, I don't know, whatever it may be, is going to the Totem Foundation. We are saving up for having 6 and 26, having all the supplies that they need, and it's a nonprofit. We got a lot of things we got to take care of. Thank you so much for helping us out.
Yes, thank you so much. Like Daniel said, we are looking to have 6 and 26, so definitely thank you for helping us out with that.
Yeah, and like I said at the beginning of the show, look out for some more news and events coming soon. We shall have some details to share before too long. But yes, anyways, thank you, Drew, for coming on. And he told me after the fact that he forgot to mention something. If you see him at Bonnaroo, no, you didn't. And I kind of know exactly what he means. Whatever you saw with me, no, you didn't. I totally get that. But let's go back around to some stuff we were talking about before we had those great 2 segments. You had something you wanted to bring up first, right? There was a ridiculous TV show that you made me watch, and I lost brain cells because of it.
Has anybody watched Nashville 911? Or 911 Nashville, whatever. Oh my goodness. So we watched the first episode. So let me preface by saying we have never seen either of the 911 franchises, like the regular 911. I think I did watch like the first episode of the regular 911 because Connie Britton was in it. That's the only episode I've ever seen. I haven't seen 911 Lone Star, nothing else. And anyways, now there's one Nashville 911. And it's a drama. Forget what channel it comes on.
Some ABC.
Yeah. And the best way I can explain it is, remember that movie Snakes on a Plane?
Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, that's a good comparison.
Like, it's supposed to be serious, but you just end up laughing so hard because it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, well, Drew was just talking about how, like, the Kanye show was fun because it was a train wreck. That kind of applies here,
Yes.
too. Yeah.
So the very first episode, and this is not a spoiler because there's been so many commercials on, the very first episode, the amphitheater in Nashville, the Ascend Amphitheater, like, gets blown over by a tornado. And it's just the most absolutely ridiculous stuff. Like a tornado, like multiple tornadoes go through downtown Nashville, but yet they just go back to the firehouse like nothing has happened.
Yeah.
Like it's just all kinds of crazy stuff. Like fire tornadoes and
The point where I realized that this was ridiculous and maybe it was worth it for a snakes on a plane kind of reason
Yes.
was like they're at the Parthenon for some little girl's birthday and she's trying to fly a kite and the kite pulls her into the sky and she's being waved around all over the place and then they have to form a human. It was ridiculous and is an offense to science. And
yes.
I hated that. However, it's so ridiculous, I can't look away. I mean, it's kind of fun because, like, if you're watching this, chances are you go to Nashville every once in a while and you know the place pretty well, just like we do. You see things that are obviously shot, like on site, in town. But then you look at it and you're like, why would they be there? That makes no sense. If they're there, it's just across the street to this thing that they're saying is taking an hour to get to. There's so many stupid inconsistencies.
Somebody like saved someone with stripper oil, so you know. Like,
And like they're doing too many of the obvious things. Like there was an accident with bachelorettes. There was like that thing at the Ascend.
everyone's a cowboy.
Things like that. But I'm like, when are y'all going to get to the real interesting stuff in 5 Points? Or go visit the nerds at Vanderbilt? Or go to Play? You know what I'm talking about. Once that show gets there, I'm be like, all right, now we're talking.
No, see, I hope they do a Bonnaroo episode.
They kind of have to. Like, if there's not a Bonnaroo episode of this show, like, what are we even doing here? There's no point in even having done
It
that.
would be like it flooded.
Yeah, too soon.
Sorry. Okay, anyways, we watched a really good movie the other day.
Yesterday, yeah. Me and Charlotte had a lazy day. All we had planned was to work on some totem stuff and just kind of take it easy. So I'm like, hey, we got like 3 or 4 hours to kill. Do you want to go see Good Fortune with Aziz Ansari, Seth Rogen, Keanu Reeves,
Keke Palmer.
Yeah, so we loved the Aziz show Master of None back in the day. He is actually like a really good director, a really good writer too. And like, I thought this was a great first job for somebody being like a feature film director. It maybe could have used another draft on the script, but I have no major complaints. There was just some things I wish it had some follow-up on. I don't want to give too much of the plot away because it's great if you don't know it. It's very slightly sci-fi.
You know, Aziz is a Bonnaroovian also.
Sonic Forest. Yeah, I remember.
But that was such a great movie. It's got a very good plot point to it, and it's
Yeah.
a really good movie. I do think I would give it like an 8-ish out of 10
I agree.
because I think they could have pushed it just a little bit harder on that point.
Yeah.
But it was good.
Without giving too much away, like it has a lot to say about like how young to middle-aged people are dealing with a really crap economy and how people in the gig economy doing like, you know, DoorDash or Uber or whatever, how they have it kind of hard. I think it actually has something to say that needs to be said that not many people in that type of position are saying. It's kind of cool that, you know, 3 guys that have been very successful are actually on board with saying like, hey, people who aren't successful like need more of a chance. I love that. Without getting all commie hippie in here today, I do like that message. It was nice to see in that, and I do recommend that movie. All right. It's been a long episode. This has been a bit of a marathon because we had a lot of good stuff. We have one more episode. I was wrong last week. We have one more episode next week before I go down to Halloween. I have invited our good friend Andrew, the moderator of /r Tame Impala and the Tame Impala Discord, to do a deep dive with me. So I had a lot to say about this new album at the beginning. I think I'll have a lot more to say next week. You should give it a full listen so you can talk about it.
I thought you were going to say, I have invited Kevin Parker to...
He is always invited. He can be on any time he wants. In fact, after listening to this album, I have a lot of questions for him. I would like to be able to pick his brain for a good hour. I got to pull it out again. I like having the visual aid now that we're doing video. I will say this. Each one of the Tame Impala albums have had something to say to me. I can identify a lot with what I think Kevin is trying to say. And it took a couple of listens, like I said earlier, but woo boy, this one hits close to home. I feel like I just went to therapy, man. It took a little bit for it to settle in, but we'll talk more about that with Andrew next week. I think he has a lot to say too. The nice thing about lyrics like this that are a little bit floaty and metaphorical is that there are multiple meanings to be drawn out of it. So I'm interested to hear what he thinks and what many of you are thinking. We've been talking about it a lot on our Discord this week. It's, I'm sure you knew it was coming if you've been watching this show for years. You knew this was going to be a big deal around here, but more big deals are to come. We'll do that with Andrew. Whatever else you want to do. Okay. Week after that, me and Brooklyn are headed to Hula. And after that, I think there's going to be a lot of Totem and other things to talk about. The season is picking up, y'all. Ooh, I'm feeling good. Let's go back inside where it's warmer. It's getting kind of cool out here. All right. See you guys next week for this whole Tame thing, and then see you the week after next for our adventure at Halloween. Get out there and radiate positivity. We'll see you next week.
Bye.